Hi, I'm Allegra here with you on Friday because the Thursday broadcast didn't go as expected, and I'm hoping this one does because there have been some technical issues on my side. And if you are joining me for the first time, welcome. I am a brain science based productivity and time management expert, which means I help you find more time and energy in your life for yourself and your goals. And unfortunately, it looks like my connection is still not good. And I'm just going to see if I can see it on my phone as well. If you're joining me live, can you let me know on your end if it is good or not? Because it's not always clear to me that what I'm seeing is what you're seeing. So I do see the live chat. And if you're wondering why, in the middle of all the craziness that is happening in our world, why I'm choosing to focus on self care, it is because I know from personal experience that when I don't take care of myself, I run myself into the ground. And I really want to be able to show up for my country, for my family, for the people who I don't even know, but who I'm concerned about. And the only way I can do that is if I take care of myself first, so that I have the energy to give to those causes and those people. And so my hope is that by really diving into self-care in the next few months, that you will be able to take something away and create a practice for yourself that ensures that you are filled up mentally, physically, spiritually. So, I decided to start with skincare because it was not a practice that came naturally to me. And I feel like if you're over 40, it's kind of an easy sell because you might be at that point where you're looking at your skin and it's not quite where you want it to be. I know that was my experience. I actually did not wear sunscreen until I turned 40. And I'm trying to find in if you go to this QR code that's here, if you're listening to this, by the way, as the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, then you can go to subscribepage.com/7steps. And if you go there, you'll see there's a short video there where there's a picture of my skin from about 7 years ago. And here we go. If you can see it right there, it's hard to see, I know, camera on camera, but if you go to subscribepage.com/7steps, then you can see the picture for real. But I didn't wear sunscreen until I turned 40. I didn't think I needed it. As someone who's medium complected, I thought the little bit of sun that I'm getting is probably not going to be damaging it. Little did I know that the radiation that you're getting from all of these screens around us can also cause sand damage. That's when I started wearing sunscreen. And I don't like wearing makeup. And so that was when I decided to really get into the practice of having a skincare routine. But it wasn't easy because it's not something that I enjoy naturally. However, as I started learning more about it, like, did you know that doing this kind of self touch releases the same type of feel good chemicals that getting a hug from another person does, that getting a massage from another person does? So there's a lot of reasons to have a skincare practice. I can tell you that now that I've had one for a number of years, I look forward to it every morning and every night. It's a great way to start my day, and it's a great myself ready for a good night's sleep. And what I found is that I feel loved. I feel nurtured. And y'all, if you are not loving and nurturing yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? So, I am going to walk you through my 7 steps for glowing skin for women over 40. If you click on the QR code, you can get the list yourself, but I'm going to go through it. And 7 steps, it's not 7 steps morning and night. It's actually 7 steps over the course of the day, because I'm going to explain that a lot of these steps you only do at night, and one of these steps you only do during the day. And some of these steps are going to be familiar, and some of them are going to be unusual because as you age, your skin changes. No surprise there. Hormonal changes, just environmental changes, just wear and tear. And so you have to do some different things. So, unusual weeks where I tell you other things, I read, sayings and stuff like that. I'm just going to get straight into the topic. And by the way, if you see this as the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, or if you rewatch this later, you'll see that I have the next few months laid out. Next month, next week, I'm going to talk about specific products that I use. The week after, I'm going to walk you through how I came up with my skincare ritual. The week after, I'm going to physically do my AM routine from top to bottom. And it doesn't take that long, by the way. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. And then the week after that, I'm going to do my PM routine top to bottom. Same thing. It takes about 10 minutes. It's going to take longer because I'm going to be explaining every step. But when I actually go through it, it doesn't take much time. And let's get started. So, first step, and this is really talking about PM. The first step in a skincare routine is to cleanse. And I only cleanse at night. And the reason why is because you're really cleansing to get the day's dirt and any maybe makeup or sunscreen off so that you can prepare your skin to heal overnight, because that's what your body does. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one. This is just my experience and what I've read. Your body does its healing part overnight. So you want to cleanse so that your skin can then be given the nutrients it needs to take care of itself. And I only cleanse at night. It's something that Salma Hayek swears by, and I concur. And depending on what day it is, I switch it up, what type of cleanser I use. Most days, I use just a gel cleanser, and I'm going to talk at great length about all the products. This one I use because I love the scent. And when I'm using it, oh no, I forgot to bring something. Well, you'll see it when I do my PM ritual. When I'm using it, I rub my face really hard with the cleanser on so that it becomes red to stimulate circulation. You know, our circulation slows down as we age, so stimulating the circulation, kind of like when you work out and sweat and your face gets red. It's that same sort of thing, but here you're doing it on purpose. And so that's the first step. Super basic. I talk a little bit about, in this handout that you get at the QR code, a little bit about the different products that I use. But honestly, if you have a cleanser that you like the smell of, and I also only use clean products, there isn't so much in the technology in of terms of cleansing. They kind of all work the same. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Just make sure that you have one that you like using, that doesn't make your skin feel dry afterwards. It's really key as you're going 40 and over. You want to make sure you're not using anything that strips your skin at any age, really, because for younger people too, that can create overproduction of oil when you strip your skin. So make sure that you like how it leaves your skin feeling. The next step is exfoliate. And again, this is something I only do at night because you're stripping away the outer layers of skin, and you want to give your new skin a chance to kind of get used to the environment before you're exposing it to sunlight and all that stuff. In my opinion, that's not my scientific belief. That's just like, hey, probably best to not strip away all that skin right before you head outside. Now, how I exfoliate is different. Sometimes I use a physical exfoliator like this scrub, which has like oat kernels in it and stuff like that, and is rose scented, which I really love rose scent. So you'll see that is a theme in my products, a lot of rose scents. Sometimes I'm using a chemical exfoliant, which this is glycolic acid. I use a little reusable bamboo cloth here that I have about a month's worth of these. And then at the end of the month, I boil these and they get nice and clean again. You see, I've had these for a number of years. And so I use that about twice a week. And another thing that I do once a week is literally I shave my face. This is a little razor blade. It's been shown that this is part of why men's skin might look less wrinkly, because they're exfoliating it. And the other thing too is when you create a little bit of damage to your skin, it causes it to repair itself back stronger. So I'm always amazed at how much skin comes off when I do this, even with using this abrasive, even with using the chemical peel. So much comes off with this. And what you'll see after a good exfoliation is that your face will look a little bit brighter. And then maybe once or twice a month, I use a really hardcore exfoliant, a chemical one that you can only leave on for 10 minutes because it's so hardcore. So there's lots of different options. Super important. I learned the power of exfoliation when a friend of mine was studying to be an esthetician and she offered me a free treatment, which was microdermabrasion. And she said, "Oh my God, all those lines around your eyes, those are going to be gone because they're just dead skin." And I said, "Wait, wrinkles are just dead skin?" And she said, "Yeah, it's just layers of skin that you haven't removed." And if you've ever seen someone who skin looks like gray and dry, that's just dead skin. That's not because they have bad skin. It's because you're only seeing the dead part on top. I know that isn't that like so gross when you think about it? I'm just like, oh, all of us walking around with all this dead skin is so disgusting. But really, if you just take the time to get rid of that skin, you will get rid of the 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 grayness, the flaky look, and these minor little wrinkles that are just channels of dead skin. The other thing too is that if you're saying to yourself, "Oh my gosh, I'm using all these products and my skin never feels hydrated or moisturized or anything," again, you probably need to exfoliate because you know what? You can't hydrate and moisturize dead skin. Dead skin is like a sealed layer. Nothing is getting through. So you have to exfoliate that away. Okay. The next step, again, also something I only do at night, is toning. Toning is a step that is supposed to help with tightening the skin. Now, sometimes this is a multi-step because this one is a toner slash exfoliant, the glycolic acid that I mentioned. Sometimes it's just like the Korean style skin routine, the 12-step, they do a double cleanse. And so you've washed your face and then you use like a toner. This is a rose micellar toner that I use most nights to just make sure you get everything. And also I use it to remove any makeup that might be left over from my gentler cleanse originally. Another toning step that I do pretty much every night is, I guess I forgot to bring it, so I'll show it to you when I do my PM routine, but it's an LED wand. It's called a Solar Wave, and I use that over my face for about 3 minutes. It has a red light. It also is a little bit warm. It also vibrates, and that's supposed to help make products penetrate deeper and help generate cell turnover. So you see, I've washed my skin, I've exfoliated it. Now I'm helping to encourage it to repair itself overnight. And you use a water-based solution. You see, it's kind of a gel to use that on your face. It's kind of like if you've had an ultrasound, it's kind of like the stuff that you use when you have an ultrasound done. Okay, so now we get to a step, and although I've listed the steps 1 through 7, depending on what products you're using, it's not always gonna be in this exact order. But another nighttime step, you see, most of these steps are nighttime because again, that's when you're repairing yourself overnight, is to do a mask. As you're older, just things are slowing down, you're not as hydrated, you just need to do more. And look, there's sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I don't do all the steps and my skin just does not feel as moisturized and hydrated. And I feel like that's the hardest thing that I'm working on these days. And I have to do all the steps and allow enough time for things to penetrate so that then the next product will have a chance to fully sink in. So they're not just like layered on top of each other. And so the next step is to mask up. And I'm constantly switching between these sheet style masks. Some of these are hydrating. This one's hydrating. This one's purifying. This one's does it all, collagen, etc. I also occasionally will do an overnight mask, the kind that you use all night long. And oh my gosh, my skin feels so amazing the next day. You have to sleep on your back the whole time, but it feels amazing. Then I also use this like clay vitamin C mask. So I'm constantly switching up. I try to do 2 a week. Whenever I travel, I always travel with a mask. And when I get into exact products, I'll tell you which one that is. But I'm always switching it up. And this really allows you some time to let the serums in the masks or whatever active ingredients are in the mask really just sit there for a while and do their thing. Okay, then this is a step that you do morning or night. So basically, in the morning, I get up, I clean my eyes, and then I immediately go into step 5, which is nourish slash hydrate slash moisturize. Okay. And when it comes to nourish, hydrate, moisturize, you're going from least heavy product, so water based product, to heaviest product. So you're going to have water based, then you're going to have like water and oil, and then you're going to have the pure oils that maybe even have some waxes in them that really help stick to your face. I mean, you can see my face. I don't look shiny. I look luminous, but I literally put this balm on my face this morning. And you see, it doesn't look like you might think, what? That looks like lip balm. Yep, it pretty much is lip balm for the face. And I needed it. Okay. What can I say? Welcome to having older skin. Yes, so much fun. Okay, so the first step to nourish, hydrate, moisturize are serums. And serums are water-based and I love them. And one of the websites I mentioned, The Ordinary, that website, they actually have like a build your regime. I think they probably all have a build your regime tool, but it's really great because it'll help you based on what you're interested in working on. It'll help you build a routine and tell you what order to do it in and what products do work with what products and what don't work with what products. Because, like, especially when you're working with acids, you need to be careful what you're mixing it with. Okay. And this is part of why I have an AM routine and a PM routine because I don't use vitamin C in the morning because I like to use niacinamide, which you can't mix with vitamin C. Or maybe it's I'll have to research that. But there are things you can't mix, so you need to be aware of that. So serums are water-based products. I think I read somewhere that you shouldn't layer more than 2 serums. And let's see, I have a morning serum that is a niaminocide based. And I guess that's the only no, and then I also do a growth factor serum. So yeah, I do at least 2 serums morning and night. And so they're water-based, they go on really easily. And as I'm waiting for the layers to dry, I am usually doing some sort of fascia work, which is step 6. Okay, so fascia work, if you don't know what fascia is, after skincare, I'm doing a whole bunch of videos on fascia because they are a huge part of my life at this stage. If you've heard me talk before, in my 30s, I was bedridden for 3 months because of a herniated L5-S1. And it took me a really long time to heal. And now I believe, knowing what I know now, I believe it's because I had a chronic fascia tightness that was causing the disc to be herniated. So fascia is this tissue that shoots itself through every single layer of muscle, kind of like a croissant, how there's dough and butter and dough and butter. There is muscle and fascia and muscle and fascia. Like when you cut it and you see layers, the layers are there because of the fascia. Then there's also huge fascia, like the fascia plantitis that you always hear about. There's this huge strip of fascia that runs under your foot. Then apparently there are teeny tiny little bits of fascia that wrap around every hair follicle. And I literally do fascia work from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet every single day, some sort of fascia work. I'm always changing it up. And look, you might be like, oh, that sounds like a lot of time. Well, let me tell you, it's a lot less time than the 5 hours a day I had to spend in physical therapy to get over that back injury. So I do a little bit every day and it keeps me pain-free and functioning well. And so fascia work, again, you have fascia everywhere, all these muscles. And anytime you feel tightness around here, that's can be fascia. Also, guess what? A lot of wrinkles are also fascia because you are squinting, right? And you're strengthening these muscles and tightening the fascia in here. And then guess what? Oh, I'm just gonna stay that way. Or it's just gonna stay that way. Or it's just gonna stay that way. Have you ever looked at people and just been like, "Why are you making that face?" And they're like, "I'm not making a face." But it's the face they've made so long that they can't unmake it because their muscles are just so used to going those directions. So when I am putting on a serum, I will often just be like massaging my face. Take my knuckle, massage my face. I do have fascia implements. I have like this gua sha. This is my favorite one to travel with because it's metal, and so I can use it even on like big muscles. Like I literally gua sha my entire body. You can use it if you liked using this stuff. I don't really get the point of this stuff. I don't really feel any difference, but I do love the scraping. You can see it's bringing blood to the surface right now. I also have this guy that I like to use. And so the serums penetrate pretty quickly, so you don't have a lot of time to get any moisture to because this one you can't really move without moisture. But you can always do this with your knuckle. Like you'll feel like it just feels so good. You can just feel the tension melting away. So, as I am doing the Nourish, Hydrate, Moisturize, I'm also doing some fascia work. So then first you do the serums, then you do moisturizer. Moisturizers are like lotions, so mostly water-based, but they might have some oil in them. And again, I mix up what products I use. I'm always using different products. Like this product I've been using for almost 2 decades. I do have some of those, but I'm also curious about what's out there. Like this product has an ingredient called bakuchiol. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but bakuchiol is the plant-based retinol. And because I never wanted to use retinol because it makes you very sun sensitive, I've never used retinol. But as soon as bakuchiol came out, I was like, I'm on that bakuchiol, and I've been using this now for about 3 years, I think. This serum here is brand new. So I'm always trying new things. I am not loyal to one product. If that seems overwhelming, hey, do one product line, go for it. Whatever works for you. I'm never going to tell you what exactly to do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, and you get to decide for yourself what you think will work for you. Right? So you go from serums to moisturizers, and then from moisturizers, you're going to do so nourish, hydrate, moisturize. So that's all those things, the serum and the moisturizer. Now, the difference between serums and like oils is that serums and moisturizers are helping to add moisture to your skin. Oils and balms are doing more of the sealing work. So this is step 6, seal and fascia work. So you've hydrated your skin, you've nourished it with all sorts of vitamins and nutrients that it needs, and now you're going to seal it with an oil and or a balm in order to protect the barrier and keep things in that you want to keep in. And I do both steps. I do the balm, as I mentioned, and I do oils. They do not come in these fancy bottles. I put them in this fancy bottle, and I'll explain all about that when I talk about how I came up with my individual skincare ritual. And then once you have all sealed products on, then go back through with this guy, and I do a lot more fascia work in all these areas that you store tension. And I love on my neck, so good. And then I also, this isn't skincare, but I'm also always doing this and working on the fascia in my scalp. And I also brush my scalp with a wooden comb. I don't use any other kind of brush, just a wooden comb to really rake my scalp. If you've ever had a Korean head massage, let me tell you, you can't ever cause pain to yourself the way those masseuses cause pain to you. Like, I'm like, am I really gonna survive? It's so painful, the amount of work that they do on you. But hey, look at their hair and skin. It's hard to argue with the results. So I go through and I get as painful as I can with my hands and with my wooden comb. One other thing I mention under step 6, which again, if you're just joining me, hit the QR code here and you can download this list of the 7 steps for glowing skin. If you are listening to this later as the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, you can get that at subscribepage.com/7steps. So after you do the sealing and fascia work, one other fascia thing that I do, and I don't have it here, but I will show it to you when I do the products and then when I do my PM ritual, is if I have done my skincare routine early enough. So there's some days when I'm able to get my skincare done before 8 p.m. so that as I'm getting ready for bed at 9:30, I can use these things called frowns. And you might have seen it on social media. Frownies are just this little pieces of brown tape that help to, again, train the muscles, relax the fascia by holding it in place overnight. And I have found that those work. I'm not great at using them religiously because since I do use balms and oils, you have to have applied all that for at least like an hour and a half to 2 hours before you can put on frownies. But if you really want to use frownies a lot, just don't put the oils on this part of whatever part of your face you want to put the frownies on. But I do find that they work really well. I used to have really bad 11s. All the stuff that I've done has helped a lot, but I do find that the frownies help with the fascia even more. I'm just going to turn this light away so you can see. Like I have almost no 11s, right? Like, I mean, I have a little bit. You can kind of see, but my 11s honestly used to go up to here 10 years ago. They like basically met this line here, and it was like I had the mathematical symbol of pi etched on my forehead. No joke. And so I'm amazed at how different it is between the exfoliating and the fascia work. Incredible, what a difference. So that brings me to the final step. And the final step, unlike many of the other steps, this final step is one that you only do during the day. And that is to protect your skin with sunscreen. And this is a mix of 3 sunscreens actually in this bottle. And I do want to recommend that you only use mineral sunscreen, which means that the active ingredients should only say zinc oxide or titanium oxide. Everything else is carcinogenic for you, meaning cancer causing, and kills the coral reefs. If you've been to Hawaii, you know you're not supposed to use the avobenzo, oxobenzo, all those other chemicals, sunscreens. But zinc oxide, titanium oxide are safe for you. I think they're more effective personally. And I wear it every single day. As I mentioned, the screens give off radiation. And it's my final step during the day. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about that. Now, one final thing I do want to mention is that skincare is fantastic. It makes me feel so good to do it. Like I just truly feel taken care of and loved and nurtured. Again, all the self-touch stimulates positive brain chemicals. And, I think just psychologically, it just sets you up for a good day. It sets me up for a good day. And I just want to say, though, that as wonderful as that is, you will probably feel those results, I'm guessing, no matter what. I'd love to hear from you what your experience is. However, if you want to see visual changes to your skincare, then to your face, if you want to see visual changes to your skin, then you have to recognize that skincare is just one component of that. What you eat, what you drink, how often you sweat, how much sleep you're getting, how much quality sleep you're getting is also going to determine how your skin looks. So I just want to throw that out there. And, one final, like this is kind of the final cherry on the cake. I don't follow this all the time either. However, I do feel like it makes a difference. If you're really concerned about wrinkles, another thing you might want to consider is making sure that you're not squishing your face when you sleep. There are special pillows out there. I don't use them, but if I do sleep on my side, I do try and sleep so that I put my hand like this so that my face isn't getting squished. But actually, what I really try to do is I try and sleep on most of the time. I mean, it's good for my back as well. It also allows me to do those overnight masks, because if you're sleeping on your side, you can't do those overnight masks. So one thing to just think about is people say they can tell what side of your face you sleep on based on wrinkles. So something you might not be aware of. So thank you so much for joining me. In this crazy world, it's so important that you take care of yourself. And if you can, help out someone else too. I am literally using fivecalls.org. That's the number 5, CALLS.org, to call my representatives every single day to tell them all the things that I feel like need to happen right now, as in not waiting, because this is not the America I was born into. This is not the America we were promised. And it's important that we all stand together because your voice matters. If you haven't heard this statistic, a political scientist found that when 3.5% of a population stands together, the government has to pay attention. So take care of yourself. I'll join you next week, and I'm going to talk in great detail about the products that I use. And be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen. It costs you nothing, and it helps me in the algorithm. And remember, planning makes everything easier.